You don't quit when it gets hard. You fight. You don't quit. You don't throw in the towel. You don't look at yourself as late because of a temporary circumstance. So, hi, it's Adita, and we need to talk today. We need to talk about a number of things because there is a lot of stuff that's happening, and maybe you've experienced yourself on a personal level. Or maybe you're just looking at social media, or maybe you're looking at television. I hope you're not looking at too much of that. And you're seeing the things that are happening in this world. But I want to bring it a little bit. I want to bring it into what happens within the four walls of your home. If you're in a home, or what happens in that car that may never thought you were going to experience in your entire, but yet you're there. And that is not easy. I want to say that to you first. I want to talk about a couple of things here, and I want to encourage you. I am an encourager. I'm a lot more hope. There are people who are going through all kinds of things that they never thought they would experience. Look at these women. We saw that there were stats about it started at 300,000, but then I was speaking to my friend and she said, no, it's actually at 600,000. And if it's 600,000 women who have lost their jobs or walked away from it in order to be integral, we have to understand something. These are not just, oh, it's women, oh, it's stats. We have to start to look at stats and actually bring it in to a form of humanness. These are wives, these are moms, these are people who are caregivers. These are people who probably were trying to do their 9 to 5, 8 to 4:30, 9 to 6, 9 to 7, and also work on their stream of income. Maybe they were entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders, nonprofit owners, whatever they are. They were trying to do so. One of those people who has experienced that. Let me plug my thing here. But if you are, I want to take a moment to talk to you. And I want to do this because I also start going to code. There's an enemy, there's light, there's dark, there's God, there's the enemy, right? And we have to start to look at that a bit more because if you don't, you are not going to take the moments to actually start to fight through those things so that you do not quit. And you can't quit. We have to get that in our mindset first. But I want to share this about being in the church, right? And realizing that sometimes we are not preparing people for the valley of the shadow of death that people go through. We're not preparing people for the wilderness where they're speaking, and let me take the we out of there, but I like to put it there too, because I want to just say, we're in this together more than we know. You need community. Isolation is quarantine. That's what that word means. It means to quarantine. And we know what happened with the quarantine. Late 2019, 2020, a lot of people were separated. And when you're going through a difficult moment in your life, in my book, right, it's actually my course, I say isolation versus consecration. They are two totally different things. And I know some people say, but I'm an introvert. I'm saying to you, isolating and consecrating. In consecrating, you are saying, God, I'm separating myself. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to take my heart and humble myself before you. I'm going to actually lean on faith. I'm going to depend on your word. And even though I see this thing that's happening in my life, I'm going to not let that thing be bigger than you. I'm going to put that thing down here, that trial, that circumstance, that loss of whatever it is. And I'm going to say that I look at God. I see him above the temporary situation and circumstance. No matter how long it's been going on, it's still temporary. But we need to start to tell people this. We need to start to share more. Listen, you don't have to show up perfectly. There There's this video that came up today, it popped up in my feed. I'm still using one of those filters, and you see her like moving, but her face is changing from her being like she's 21 years old with, really light and all the big, and then it goes into like she's moving, but filter was telling on her. And then you see her, what she really looks like. I think it said she lost about 150,000 followers because she was faking it. And why do you have to fake it in this world? Because the world has tried to get in the minds of people to say you are enough. That whole thing about doing faceless content, I hated that. I know some people loved it, but I was like, why would you want to do faceless content? Are you ashamed of yourself? And some people will say, well, that's not enough. And you serve a God who is more than enough. And so in those moments, like, look at me, I come on laughing and they're like, oh, her nails are so nice. And I'm saying, yeah, actually, they are. They're beautiful. Nothing wrong with taking moments to actually dress up. I think putting on makeup and some things like that, I think it's fine. And all of that, but that's not what makes you. And we have been pulled into where we leave our people to make you valuable in order to be all of these things. And I'm saying to you, it's not the case at all. You have to be you. What are we saying that? Are we saying that God, in all of his infinite wisdom, puts you on the face of this planet? Even if you were faced, there's this gentleman, I cannot think of his name. He doesn't have arms, he doesn't have legs. That man is out there as a motivational speaker. He's traveling, it's how you look at the situation. And I want to pull some of you around and say, stop looking at the worst parts of your journey. That is not where the brilliance is. That's not where the glory lies. It lies in the fact that he shielded you, he protected you, he kept you from the lions, right? He kept you from the giants. He kept you from the people who hate you without a cause, who are working false documents, and just because they know you, they're putting a little bit about, oh, I know them. They don't really know you. Those are high school people who haven't even spoken to you in years, and then you speak to them, and then they turn around and they're just like, oh yeah, I know, but they're trying to win court documents. I'm telling you, look out for this. I want you who are going to be creating false documents with AI. And because they know you and they are suffering, they're dealing with some poverty or they're dealing with some situation, they are going to start to create these things and put you in case you won't even know about it until years later. And guess what? People can do that. Social media, y'all, you got to pay attention. There's a lot of deception that's going around right now. And as a child of God, as a child of faith, you are going to have to move one area to the next. And I know that this is buffering, but I'm going to keep going. You're going to have to move from the milk. You're going to have to move from offense. You're going to have to move from feeling less than or even, don't get upset when I say this. You're going to have to move from feeling like you're going through a pity party and say, no, I'm not going to do this because this is not helping me. You will be sad. You will cry sometimes. You will feel sad because of the things that people do to you. They hate you, some that you love, some that you have called friends, and they have turned around and they have done things to you because not just them, because there's a very real enemy who sees more about you about yourself. You don't understand it. You look at it and just say, well, I'm just here on this planet and things are growing. You don't understand that there were things that were going wrong with our cousins before you and I ever came on the scene. And I'm talking about the children of Israel. They went through the wilderness, but God was with them. I need to say this again. And pardon me, ew, wasn't that gross? But they went through the wilderness, but God was with them. And that's the part that we have to start to teach. Many people are going through a wilderness season. They are going through the afflictions. I read a scripture that talks about the righteous. It says that the righteous suffer many things. The righteous people go through many things. But as long as you acknowledge that you are not going through it by yourself, but that God is with you, you have to get that ingrained in your mindset. And I even say, put my hand on my heart and say, in your mind. Because it says, as a man thinketh in his heart. So wait, I'm thinking with my heart? Hmm, that's interesting. How do I think with my heart? So you think with your heart because this is where the emotions, this is where the offense, this is where the unforgiveness lies in your heart, in your emotions, your heart. Without a heart, you can't even live. So it starts with your heart and it penetrates up to your mind. This is how I feel about myself or other people, about my situation. And I don't know if I want to keep going. Yes, you must keep going. Yes, your life is not anyone else's. And what I have learned in the past few years and before is that life is a journey. What do you think about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do you think that when they were being ready to get thrown above the God there, then we cannot have idolatrous behavior in our lives. And so they make up in their mind. You have to make your mind before you get to that point. You have to start now before you ever get to the point where people are trying to get you to turn away from your beliefs as a believer, as a kingdom person. You have to start building up your faith now. You have to build it up. I was doing this talk yesterday. I lost a whole talk on Instagram. But what I was saying was that before you get in the storm, and maybe you're in the storm now, but how are you going to handle that storm? See, the thing is that I thank God that He allows me, because I've gone through the School of Faith 101. I think maybe I got to graduate, but then there's another level because you're going from faith to faith. You're going from glory to glory. So when you think, oh, thank this, but the Lord delivers them out of them all. So I want you to look at the latter part. Whatever I am facing today, the Lord is going to deliver me out of this situation. I am already victorious in it. I might feel this way, but you have to start speaking to yourself. When you go before people, when you go into that court, when you into that meeting with your boss, with people, with your landlord, with whoever it is, you have to put your head down first and say, Holy Spirit, we're meeting. Me and me to go into this court. We're getting ready to go into this battle. I am not by myself. I remember years ago, many of you have seen my story on Unfiltered Stories, and you know that I went through the whole all of that craziness and stuff that I went through as a little girl. And through it all, I remembered I was going to a court thing because went through that situation. Of course, I'm sending money to him for a home. And he's like, just send it. Don't worry about the rent. Send it. We're going to get this home. I'll take care of everything. And he was lying to me. I discovered later. I was duped. I was conned. I was hoodwinked, right? But so what? That's not the biggest part of my story. The greatest part is that the Lord took me through that heartache, that heartbreak of realizing that marriage was nothing more than a sandcastle falling from the sky. It was nothing. It was no thing. And so through the midst of that, the Lord sustained me. I do it. I felt the feels. I felt the pain. I experienced it. I cried. I looked up at the ceiling at night. So I'm not like, oh my gosh, the same spot on the ceiling. And the Lord gives His beloved rest. But that's because I was holding on to something that I needed to release. And so what I want to say to you is that, yes, you will go through some things, but I want to give you a demonstration because I love doing that. I want to show you, let's say out. Right? The sun is out. Okay. My light, I was going to bring it to you, but the sun is out. It's shining brightly and all of this stuff. And you're having a great time in your life, a great day. Your marriage is going well. You're having amazing things happen at your job and all of these things, right? And your kids are doing well. They've graduated from college. Your health is great. Your people are alive and all of, and you're just, going through life and it's wonderful. And then all of a sudden you look up and you start to see storm clouds in distance. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't rain today. You ever have a time in your life where you're like, I didn't know this was gonna happen to me. I feel the presence of the Lord. I didn't know it was going to rain today. Whatever it is, a meeting or whatever it is, you get the call from the doctor that there is a diagnosis, or your child ends up not feeling well and you end the ambulance to the hospital. I've had to do that multiple times, and yet I've had to stand by faith. And so you go that situation and you're just like, oh my gosh, wait, Storm, I didn't know it was going to rain today. I see clouds starting to form. And then all of a sudden, you're just looking up and the clouds are getting closer and closer. And then just like that, you turn around and you're like, wait a minute. Right? Like you can still see it now because of this. But what happens, and you're just like, wait, it's getting darker. I don't even understand what's going on. Why is this happening? Right? It's getting darker. And then just like that, it's like the light goes off and you're in darkness. Something happened that was totally beyond your control. What do? Are you going to panic? Are you going to freak out? Are you going to say the same God who was with me in the sun is the same God who's with me in the rain? You have got to determine in your heart that you are going to trust God no matter what. So even if you don't see the sun, the S-U-N, you still have to see the S-O-N in every situation and circumstance. When the storm was going to rain, I didn't know we were going to go through this. I didn't know we were going to lose this. I didn't know paycheck away from rent being paid, and all of a sudden that thing happens. Okay, you have to put God first. And I'm going to keep saying this because we have to talk about this more. Everything else we do becomes an idol. Because and this is to my friends and my sisters out there who have gone through heartache and heartbreak just like you see my story. You don't even know the full details of what it is that I went through, that I had to journey through as a new mom, finding out, wait, the marriage, not what? Wait, that wasn't what? Wait, this was a con game? It's like, it makes no sense. But if I could go through that and still come here to you and talk to you about the importance of walking by faith and not by sight, then you can make it too. On your so-called worst day, you can still get through it if you focus on the sun. Yes, I know that many of you have been trying. I know to say, okay, wait now, because I know I was doing the coaching business and this, that, and the other, and wait, now we're in the hospital, wait, and we're in the hospital for what, a month? Wait, and now we get out and now there's a surgery, and now for my child, and all of this stuff. And you have to, now I had to put the coaching to the side, excuse me, because, but I was still writing. I was still, all I could hear was the Lord sharing, is it your voice? Because some of you're so scared to get online, but that's probably your oil. Very thing that you're saying, I'm just so, oh gosh, what are you afraid of? The people from way back when who hated you back then and you just didn't know it. So you spent time with people who despised you, right? Are you afraid of them? Don't be afraid of them. You have to think about your family. You have to think about years. She literally has been trying to find a job and nothing. And I believe her. She's put the things out, the resume, the this, that. And when that happens, some sometimes you literally have to stop and say, what is it? I'm missing something. I don't know what it is. There's something that you're trying to say to me, and I must be missing it because before, and I remembered saying, I was like, wait a minute, before I could have got through something just like this. I, it would have been easy, but it wasn't. And it's, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, right? So, what I want to say to you is this: it doesn't make sense. And that doesn't make sense. I'm saying you is and look for God's situation. You need to kind of pivot and go back to him again and say, Lord, I know you have to be honest. We're used to being the ones who say, well, I always know what to do. I have to figure it out. No, God doesn't even want us to be like that, because that's a form of pride. And so sometimes he will not allow it to work out the way that you want to go. There's going to be times when the voice going to the situation going to talk to you a minute as this thing buffers. I know that there's some of you who have gone through some difficult times, and you've been tempted, right, to call that number, to get the number